Good afternoon, class. Now we move on to the floating layout in CSS. The floating layout in CSS is basically quite simple and easy to use. The basic idea of this technique is to leave the HTML layout as simple as possible, but to provide style hints and tell the various elements how to interact with each other. You don't exactly tell where each element will go, but you provide hints and let the browser manage the things for you. So we are not giving it absolute positions or anything. We are just going to give it tell it how it is going to be positioned relative to the other elements on the page. Now floating layouts are uh, a good choice because they typically involve less code than other kinds of layouts, and only a few elements need to have specialized CSS. All the other elements can stay as it is. The easiest way to use floats is with images. So if I have a image tag and a paragraph tag and a paragraph, what happens normally is that inside the paragraph the image occupies the space of one character and rest of the paragraph follows after the image. But what I would have actually wanted is that image is on the left and rest of the text is flowing on top from here, from left to right, and it's on the right of the image and not like this white space was not required. But by default, if I don't use any CSS or any other layout, this is how a paragraph with an image works. Now what I want is to maybe look like this. The image is on the left and the text flows to the right. This can be simply done by using the float attribute. We simply use the float colon left attribute in the image element. You can see the entire code here. This is the paragraph. Firstly, we'll just look at the body part. In the body, we have the paragraph. We have this image tag, and this is the paragraph. We close the paragraph and the body tag. And what is important is the float colon left style. So inside the head section, we get the page level style using the style tag. The type is text/css. This is for the image tag. We have set the property float left. So this float colon left tells that the image tag should float towards left. So that means all the other things should be on its right. So this simple float colon left does this thing. My image comes on the left and all the text goes on the right. It's not just that I can only make the image to go on left, we can also make the image to go on the right. We simply have to use float colon right in place of float colon left. Okay, this is clear. Now we move on to using float with other elements or block level elements. It's not that we can use float only with images. Using float with images was quite easy, so that is the first use of float that we did. We can also use it with paragraphs, with other elements in our HTML body. So now let us first see how to use it with paragraphs. When I'm applying float to a paragraph, that means that paragraph would be on the left and all the other elements would be on its right. All the other elements following it should be on its right. So by default, what happens is, if I'm not using float, there is one paragraph. It takes up in the entire width of the browser. It moves from left to right, top to bottom. The next paragraph flows downwards of it. That is, I have say one paragraph, it ends here. The second paragraph starts after it and ends here, the third paragraph, and so on. They are sequential in structure. But with float, we can create side by side paragraphs, or we can create a 2 side by side paragraphs or 3 side by side paragraphs as you wish. By using simple float attribute, I can define the relative positions of the paragraphs with respect to each other. Now let us take a simple example wherein I have 3 paragraphs: paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. Paragraph 1 is as it is. The only thing is I have added borders to each of the paragraphs. In this float demo, I'm simply creating the first paragraph to be just like a normal paragraph. The second paragraph is floated to the left, and the paragraph 3 is also specified just like a normal paragraph. So paragraph 2 should be on the left, and anything following it should be towards the right of it. The code for the same would look something like this. Here you can see, firstly focusing on the body part, the first paragraph is normal. For the second paragraph, I have used class equal to floated, and later I will define the styling for the floated class. The third paragraph is also normal. So here is it. We define the style tag in the head section. Style type is equal to text.css. For the paragraph, we want all the 3 paragraphs to have a border. So we write border colon 2 pixels width, black in color, and solid. Now for the floated class, we use dot floated to specify dot class name to specify the style for a particular class. So the syntax is dot class name, and inside the curly braces you specify the styling attributes. So we have written here float equal to left. So this means the second paragraph will float towards the left. So it is doing that, but the only problem with this code is it is not telling paragraph 3 from where to start. So by default, what happens using this code is that I have added borders to the paragraphs. So that's the simple thing. That's what this line here does: border 2 pixel black solid. The second thing is the first paragraph is acting normally. The second paragraph is also pretty normal. It's towards the left. It's squeezed towards the left. But the third paragraph is very skinny. That means it is towards the right of paragraph 2, but it is squeezed into whatever little space it has left. This is because we have not specified a width for paragraph 2. So it took up as much space it wanted, and now paragraph 3 understood that paragraph 2 needs to be on the left. So it occupied all the space it had on the right, however little, and then continued on the left also. So you can see जो paragraph 3 का border है, it is spanning the entire thing because it's here also and here also. Whereas paragraph 2 का border यहाँ से यहाँ तक जा रहा है. paragraph 2 में ज़्यादा content नहीं था, तो यहाँ पे right में कुछ space बच गई जो paragraph 3 ने use कर ली. But this is not what I wanted. I wanted paragraph 2 to be here and paragraph 3 to be here like this. I wanted 2 side by side columns. I could not achieve this because I could not tell that how much width of the screen should paragraph 2 use. So to do that, that is to adjust the width, we come to the major principle of using float based layout. If you float an element, you must also define its width. To define its width, what we do is inside the floated tag, we write float colon left and we specify the width as 50%. Now this changes my code. Here you can see paragraph 2 is now only occupying 50% of the screen space, and paragraph 3 is occupying the rest of the space. The width needs to be specified for any element except for elements that have predefined width, such as images and form elements. But go with the rule. If you are floating an element other than image or form elements, then specify its width also. But still it doesn't work as intended. You can see paragraph 3 is now on the right, but still its border is still from the left. This is because paragraph 3 still doesn't is pushing its content to the right, but it is still starting from the left. I need to specify a next margin, that is I need to specify a margin for the paragraph 3, that is the left margin value for paragraph 3, to denote where it should begin its block. Otherwise it will begin from the left, but since paragraph 2 had the attribute float colon left set, it could not start writing here, so it put its content on the right, but the entire tag is on the left. So we need to basically set the next margin. We need to tell paragraph 3 to move away from the paragraph 2 space, because if we do not tell it, the default behavior is that paragraph 3 would wrap to the right of paragraph 2, but only the content part. The actual paragraph element still extends all the way to the left side. So you can see the border is still extending to the left, even though the content is on the right. Now what I want is something like this. Paragraph 2 is here and paragraph 3 is here, and there is a significant amount of gap between the both. So to do this, we need to set the next margin, or more specifically, the margin left property of paragraph 3 needs to be set to 52%. Why 52? Because 50% is the width of the paragraph 2 and 2% is the gap that I want to leave between both the paragraphs. The code will look something like this. This is paragraph 1, normal paragraph. Paragraph 2, its class is specified as floated. Paragraph 3, its class is specified as right. So for the second paragraph, we had already done this, float left width 50%. For the third paragraph, dot right, I had already told you to specify style for a class. You use the syntax dot class name and the curly braces. So dot right will be giving the style for this particular paragraph. And what I have done is I have used the margin hyphen left attribute and I have set it to 52%. This will create the web page to look like this, which is much neater and much clearer. In the next class, we will see how to use float for styling forms.